we've gotten somewhere, huh? So, this is the pot that I was putting all the fat plus the 2 back legs, and that's what we're going to confit. Great news. All we have to do is turn the oven on super low. So I'm going to go with 200, which is the lowest on here. Going to pop this bad boy in and forget about it for like, I don't know, a few hours. And we'll see how it's rendering down then. Occasionally I might move some of the pieces around to make sure that they're fully submerged by the fat, but that fat's going to render out and it's going to look like it's cooking in oil. And we just want to do that until it literally falls off the bone. And that's duck confit. Duck confit you can use for anything. You can put it on tacos. You can put it on eggs. It's just fantastic. I'm sure you've had duck confit before. Anyways, so then the next thing that we're going to do is work on our stock. So I took, the rest of the bones and wings and put it in my stock pot. So I'm just going to, I don't have a whole lot of ingredients to make stock today, honestly, but it's too good to let these bones go to waste. So we're going to fill it up over the level of the meat with water, and you can add in things if you have them. If you don't, it's not a huge deal. I have some whole garlic cloves, and I'm going to toss those in there to add a little bit of extra flavor. And you can throw into stock, you can throw in skins, you can throw in the entire rat. You don't have to do any prep work on this whatsoever. You just chuck it right in there. So I'm going to throw some of these in there. Save me 2. I think they're getting old. Throw those in there for something. And fill it up with water right quick. It's getting heavy. Can you see my hand shaking? What a weakling. Keep going, keep going. Ah! Okay, good enough. It's hard to do 2 things at once. Okay. Now, that puppy's back there. Turn him on high for now, but then we're going to turn it way down low, and we're going to put some salt in there. So let's do that. Turn it a little bit. There we go. So these are pretty hands-off processes. And, stock is great to have. You always want to use stock instead of water for a lot of things. Like rice. If you want to make rice that tastes way better than regular rice, use stock instead of water. And if you're using your own stock, it doesn't have any preservatives and it's good for you. It has all those nutrients that were in the bones and the meat that you were just going to throw away. And if you don't want to eat it, I use it often for my dog is pretty old, and I'll just pour stock on top of her kibble every night. It makes her want to eat it more than not, and she's benefiting from those nutrients, like I said. Okay, then the star of the show is the breast. That's why we bought the duck in the first place, right? Everybody wants the breast. That's why they charge you so much for the breast when they're already breasted out. Key important thing to note off the bat: do not heat up your pan and preheat up your pan for doing the duck breasts. That's critical. You want a cold pan. So all those other things are going. Now I'm going to score the duck breast skin. So we do that in a cross hatch pattern. And then we're going to salt and pepper it, and I'll show you what I do. So I've got them sitting over here. We're going to go back to the cutting board, and this knife is terrible. After having worked with it, I thought it'd be sufficient, but maybe it's not. So the sharper your knife, the easier you're going to be able to do this cross hatching pattern. But what we're going to do is kind of put see how much weight we need to put into it. There, that's pretty decent. It's not even the whole way through. You don't want to cut into the skin, the muscle meat below the layer of fat. So you want to try to score it and get some separation like that, but without going the whole way through like I did there a little bit. So that's ideal. So you can work on what pressure it takes to do that with your knives. And then we're going to try to make it as even across as we can. So we're going to start diagonal this way, and then we're going to rotate and do diagonal across this way. And we want them to be pretty evenly spaced and look nice. We're not at a French restaurant, so, you know, the only person judging me is me, and you, I guess, and the whole internet, but whatever. So the point of it, aside from looking pretty, is that you want to, if the skin stays intact, the fat won't render out as evenly or nicely. So we want to give the skin an opportunity to render the fat out, because that's what's going to make it crispy. And the crispy skin is what we're here for. We're here for it. Okay, so we like have a semblance of a square pattern. We'll put that one to the side, do the other one. We've got some squares. I mean, it's not the best in the world, but that's it. Okay. Then to salt and pepper them. And you can be pretty generous. Salt and pepper each side. Don't use anything other than salt and pepper, or I'll haunt you in your home. Good fresh ground black pepper and salt. Okay, flip. Like I said, we did not preheat our pan at all. So we're gonna start skin side down with our nice prepared breasts. Rinse our hands again. All right, now we're gonna start out very low, like 1.5, 2 maybe. And it takes patience. To render the fat out takes time. So you're gonna have to, that's why we have a beer. It's supposed to be fun and relaxing. Got your music to jam out to, and we're going to patiently leave it this low temperature until that fat renders out. The skin's going to start to tighten up underneath it, and then it's going to end up cooking in its own fat, skin side down. We're going to do 90% of the cooking skin side down. The last remainder of the cooking, we're going to flip it and do the other side. So I won't belabor the process and have you wait and watch paint dry while this is rendering out. I'll watch it and I'll turn it back on when we're ready to flip. Okay, our stock is finally up to a rolling boil. Now this foamy stuff at the top, we're going to skim that off and discard it, but we're going to turn it down a bit too. We want it to just start to simmer now that we're at a rolling boil. So we got her turned down. Now, I'm going to get a spoon. And a discard bowl. I'll put it here for the sake of easiness. And we'll just take this foam on off, discard it. Easy peasy. You might have to do that once every couple of hours or so. And, you know, you don't have to make it perfect. That's enough. We'll come back to it later. Yet another update. Look how magical this is. All this oil, all that fat just came out of that skin. That's the beauty of the commercial duck, baby. It's gonna be good. It is not ready to flip yet, but I just wanted to show you that. And we're close. We're gonna crank up the heat right before we get ready to turn, but I'll turn it back on then. And you really need one of these. Good time to talk about it. Mine is charred right there because I dropped it in the oven one time, but it still survives. These Thermopops They're not that expensive. They're the best. I really love these meat thermometers. Obviously, you can get a different meat thermometer, but they're it. They're what we need. So, we're going to have this on ready standby to check our temperature. And the temperature we're looking for is no more than 135. Because our temperature is going to continue to rise. And the ideal temperature we're looking for these breasts is 140. Okay, y'all. We're ready to flip. And I want you to notice what the clues are. See how that skin's starting to look a little bit brown right there? And we've got, it's hard to tell on that one. On this one, here, let me not touch it, but on this one, you can see like up to here, we've got a little bit of the meat that has been cooked about halfway through. And they've both shrunk considerably. But really, it's that the bottom of the skin, you can see there's bits of it that are starting to get a little bit golden, which is great. So, we're going to crank it up from our low temperature up to, we're going to start with 5. See what that takes us. We really want to get that skin golden, golden, golden. I mean, we're getting a little on the camera, but it's nice. Now we're going to finish out the last little bit here until the meat reads 135 on the thermometer. And we're going to make sure we poke. I might as well just show you. We're not going to poke from the top, right? Because we know that the top is going to be hotter than the underneath. So we're going to try to come in from the side here like this. And we're going to see how that says 101? We're going to wait until we get a reading that's at 130 to 135. All right, now here's where the patience kicks in. We have to let these rest. Look at this. You can't see the steam. Can you see the steam? The steam. These things. Oh, I see the steam. The steam is coming off these things. And if you cut into these bad boys right now, you are going to let all those good juices that we just worked a very long time on flow out. And where are they going to be? Not in your mouth. They're going to be on the cutting board. So we're not about to do that. We're going to let these things rest for the full 5 minutes. No impatience here. This is going to be a great meal. Okay, we've waited patiently. We're about to be rewarded. I have my plating plate. I like this plate. It has a little lip. I feel like it's exactly what I want in a plate. And I have what I'm going to plate with, which is this glaze from Aldi. Not expensive. I think it's the very best thing to go with duck. And you can get different varieties of balsamic glaze. This one I like. So, we're going to cut the duck. I'll show you how I cut the duck to plate it. I did not do a side today because I'm just doing this video. I'm here by myself. There's no need. So I'm not getting anything fancy. Ideally, how I would plate is I would have probably something like, last time I did it was with a roasted parsnip puree, and I had the puree in the center, and then that gave some height and elevation to the duck breast as I laid it out on there. But you know, any of your, you can get some ideas from plating from lots of places, but anything in the center that's going to give a little bit of height that you can stack, I think that works really well. And then we're going to do our puree around the outside. What we don't want to do is we spend a lot of time getting our skin really crispy. We don't want to make the skin less crispy by putting liquid or something on there that's going to make it less crispy. So what I'm going to do to start out with for my plating is I'm going to do some circles. It's so easy. You can't mess it up. Do some circles of the glaze. That way, whenever I plate, people can dip in that. Me, not people. Then, I'll bring you over here for this. Then we're gonna slice. All right. So I'm gonna slice like on a bias here. They're a little bit more overdone than I'd like. Things don't ever go perfectly. You can't beat yourself up. They're a little bit more done than I would like. I'd like them a little bit pinker than that. But it is what it is. That's about how I would do them. And then I'm going to lay them out here on my plate. I'll show you in 1 second. And you can see how it would look nice if they were sitting on a bed of, you know, on a bed of something to elevate them. You know, you can make them look nice and perfect. And that would be a really nice presentation. That's how we're going to eat them today.